Hello, a very good afternoon and welcome back to the We Are Careers Show, your fortnightly snippet of CPD for careers professionals in the UK and beyond, whatever setting you're based in, whatever work you're doing. So a very warm welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that has kind of been covered a few times on the show before. It's our favourite, LMI. But obviously all of us kind of as careers professionals, whether we're working towards Gatsby Benchmark 2 or we're sharing the latest kind of trends with clients, we know it's important. But actually, how much do we know about what different organizations, different professionals, different educators are doing with LMI and doing with the different data sets they have access to? Well, that is exactly what we're going to be covering today as part of the show. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that as we move on and introduce our guest today. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, again, welcome. My name is Chris Webb. I'm a higher education careers professional and RCDP with the Career Development Institute. And I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic co-host, Meet Sabiha. So, Sabiha, a very warm Wednesday to you. How are things going?
Well, Chris, you say warm. It's absolutely freezing. I don't know where anybody else is, but how cold is it outside? Let us know. Maybe perhaps you've even got pictures of frost or snow, maybe bits of snow wherever you are. So let us know. Join in the conversation. As always, welcome to our amazing and lovely viewers. And if you're joining us for the first time, as Chris said, hello. Thanks for giving us your lunchtime break to join us. And if you haven't already, for those of you that are regular viewers and have started to get a feel for what we talk about on the various subjects, and today, as Chris mentioned, we have got a hot topic for you. We know you folks love labour market information, also known as LMI, and today we've got a fantastic guest with us who's going to be showing us and talking to us about how we can do labour market information differently. And I do have a request for help and support. We want to bring even bigger topics, even bigger guests, and just really expand on the depth and breadth of what we do here in the show. But we need your help. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button on whatever platform that you're watching, please make sure that you do. And if you're enjoying the content, whether it's this show or any of our backlog of previous shows, make sure you hit that like button. Now, today's great topic, we're going to be exploring with Karla, how to do LMI differently. And we want you, yes, you, to join in with the conversation. And we want to hear your views, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, or have a completely different outlook. Make sure you use the comments feature at the bottom of whatever platform that you are watching us on today. Now, as always, I do the CDI updates, which gives you inspirational ideas for developing your CPD. And I've got two amazing events that are coming up in December. Honestly, you want to make a note of these if you haven't already. Plus, I'm going to be revealing the list of speakers for one of the events, which is taking place online, for those of you that are looking for location freedom. But also as well, I've got an in-person opportunity if you're somebody that is interested in looking to connect with your colleagues and fellow professionals from the sector. And that's going to be coming up soon at the end of the show. So make sure that you stay tuned. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am known as Meet Sabiha, and I work with international professionals, helping them get unstuck and getting them back into career flow without the stress. And I also happen to be the creator of the I Am Thriving career coaching program, where I work with international coaches and I help them create even more transformational coaching practices for their clients. Now, we've already talked about joining in. This part, the next part of the show, is what we refer to as the Careers Cheers. And it's an opportunity at a time where we love to celebrate. Yes, you heard right. We love to celebrate those amazing professionals that are doing amazing work. Now, today's going to be a little bit different. And I'm going to hand over to Chris, because we're going to be doing a little bit of a remembrance of a colleague that we've just recently lost. So Chris, who are we remembering today?
Yeah, so thanks a bit. So yeah, as you rightly kind of said there, starting off sort of our section this week with a slightly kind of more somber moment, and that's in remembering Ronald Sultana. So we've started the show with kind of the really sad news that the career development sector and wider world has lost one of its most passionate and unique voices in Ronald Sultana, who passed away last week. Many careers professionals will recognise Ronald's name, I think, in his excellent work furthering the concept and exploration of kind of career guidance for social justice. But amongst many other achievements in his life, he was also a Fulbright Scholar, the founding editor for the Mediterranean Journal of Education Studies, and a speaker hugely respected around the world in the fields of sociology, education and career development. Since last week, you may have seen online tributes of both a professional and personal nature, many of which that you can kind of view on LinkedIn from his co-contributors, collaborators, peers, like Tristram Hooley and Deirdre Hughes, which really speak, I think, to the myriad memories people have of the man. And really, from our perspective, we just wanted to share condolences to all of Ronald's family, friends and peers and others whose lives he's touched. He certainly leaves behind an outstanding legacy and will be sorely missed amongst the sector and more widely. So a bit of remembrance, as you said, Sabiha, to start things off. We also wanted to kind of provide some cheers this week as well. So some celebrations of members of our careers community, as we often do. And this week's kind of very special sort of careers cheers to two individuals in particular. So to Leanne Hambley and to Carolyn Parry, to celebrate the release of their new books. So that's for Leanne, who co-authored with Lorna Stalker, Sail Planing, Creating a 4D Life and Career, and to Carolyn Parry for Change Your Story. Both of those individuals, if you follow them on LinkedIn, you'll see they've talked about the book launches and kind of some of the respective sort of promotional events that have gone on. So huge congratulations. It's such a fantastic achievement to publish. I'm really looking forward to reading both of those books. So those are...
Is that going to be a future show? Are they future shows right there? I feel as if, let us know. Do you want us, the audience, do you want us to get them on the show so that we can explore these amazing books that both these incredible professionals have created? Let us know in the chat box.
Fantastic. So that rounds us off nicely, Sabiha. On to the show.
Fantastic. So as I said, we are going to be talking about doing LMI differently. That's labour market information. And so today we were sort of thinking about who could we get on the show? And we thought, who better than the Director of Business Development, Further Education, Communities and Government at Lightcast. So we have the fabulous, the amazing Karla Hoff. Karla, thank you for joining us. Now, for those people who don't know you, who maybe know a little bit about you, maybe even perhaps, or maybe haven't come across your work at all, what should people sort of know about your sort of kind of history and your journey within the career profession and what work you do as Director of Business Development for Further Education?
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be on the show today. Well done for the job title. It's a bit of a mouthful. So so Karla Hoff, Director of Business Development at Lightcast. So Lightcast, for those of you who don't know us, formerly EMSI, we say that and a lot of kind of light bulbs go off in heads and people remember us or know us better as EMSI, but we're global leaders in labour market analytics. So we've got over 2 decades of experience developing and enriching both structural labour market data and job postings data. 2 very different things, but complement each other wonderfully when we're talking about labour market data. So it's our mission to take away the guesswork about the labour market so that education providers, local government organisations, more recently we're working with talent kind of organisations, can really make informed data-driven decisions. That's what we all love, right? Data. So whether that's related to anything from curriculum planning and course design, employer engagement and business development, strengthening bids and tenders, or what we're here to talk about today, kind of informing careers advice and guidance, we've got data to help. How we do that then, so we connect, in a nutshell, it's much more complicated than this. Official statistics such as the ONS, more kind of people are familiar with that, online job postings, and then robust economic modelling to basically provide the most comprehensive view of labour markets and business activity that there is out there. So we package all of that up in intuitive, user-friendly software solutions, whether that be for the education provider, the careers professional, or the learner, the end user, to allow us to kind of share that data with the clients and really help our customers better understand local economies and what drives them. So in the UK, I mentioned we're global. In the UK, we predominantly work across HE, FE, which kind of outreach to schools, and then in the communities and government space.
Fantastic. As you say, a huge range of work there. And I guess, number of sort of people who are watching the show who are familiar with Lightcast or formerly MZ, you will kind of know a little bit about maybe some of the work you do and some of the stakeholders you work with. As you rightly said, I guess, what we're here for today is to talk about, how does that data, how does your work kind of intersect, I suppose, with organizations or professionals providing career advice and guidance. So seems like a really good place to start. Can you tell us a little bit more, I guess, about some of the partnerships you have there and some of the different projects or different work that's being done on that front?
Yeah, sure. And kind of mentioned the different sectors that we work across. So I thought it's always good to start with the why, kind of key policy. So what's driving our customers and our clients and our partners to need that LMI to support careers advice and guidance and marketing activities in the main. So Baker Clause is kind of number one. So the need for education providers to give access to local employers in schools to basically show labour market opportunities within that area. So that's kind of a number one driver for our clients needing labour market data. How do they get the information that's telling us what local employers are after? Resources is always tight and people's time is tight. So how can we bring a vehicle to those education providers to make that easier? Talked about the Gatsby benchmarks at the beginning of the stream. So they define really what world-class careers provision in education is and provide a really clear framework for careers professionals within the education sector. Two of those benchmarks relate directly to labour market data. So supporting learning from careers and labour market information, again, a huge need there to kind of understand what's out there. But then I think more importantly, it's about linking curriculum to careers. So we have a course offer and we have the labour market and employer skills needs. How do we bring that together? So what we're really doing is the kind of bridging the gap and making labour market data the common language between that. And then I suppose more in the education sector, but this Ofsted skills measure more recently that's come out of the Skills for Jobs agenda, the personal development judgment. So just a kind of a real requirement for education providers, careers professionals to make sure that they're evidencing that curriculum's reflected and is aligned with local employer skills needs. Again, it's kind of a big ask. So anything that we can do with our clients or for our clients to kind of have that readily available and make that access to learners a little bit easier, we want to do. So yeah, giving labour market data to careers professionals, education providers, government and community organisations really means that one, they can identify current local employer skills needs through job postings predominantly. What companies are hiring, what job roles are they asking for, and what skills are within those job roles. Because it's great looking at SOC codes and occupation codes in LMI language, and it's fantastic to kind of look at a college course offer. But what all this comes down to is meeting skills gaps, right? So what are job titles and what are skills and how do they relate back to that? So huge work's going into that mapping process, and we have a skills library of hundreds of thousands of skills that is kind of ever growing, right? If we think about digital and green skills, skills of the future are only really going to be picked up in job postings. So huge development and investment into that.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting what you're saying there around, I guess, that there's that detail, that granular level of detail with data. But of course, it's kind of making it meaningful for the context, isn't it, as you say? Yeah. So that careers professionals or educators or whoever might be kind of working in that context has got that kind of understanding of, okay, well, how can I make this, visual, or how can I make this kind of appeal in a way that actually makes somebody think this matters to me? This is actually going to affect my behavior or the way that I kind of do things. And I think these, some of the case studies you're going to show us, I guess, kind of link into this a little bit, that actually, as you were saying, it's that bridge between the data itself and then making it meaningful for the provider. So tell us a little bit more about some of that.
We think about SOC codes, kind of the government classification of occupations and industries is still really important. That we've just kind of seen the SOC 2020 refresh, and we will still be using that going forward. And what that allows us to do is to future-proof curriculum an aligned curriculum, when we think about kind of 3, 5, 7-year strategy, Lightcast have those projections, and we're still going to invest in those projections. But using the structural data alongside the job postings data is giving us okay, where do we think that our region is going in terms of skills needs, but then how do we affect change like the here and now? So how do we understand exactly what skills our learners need leaving us in the next 1, 2, 3 years to get meaningful employment? So kind of a bank of tools, I suppose, is what we're giving learners and providers to support staff. So careers assessments, CV building tools, live job postings, as well as that kind of sick and soccer code element as well. So yeah, let's jump into some of the examples.
Let's hope this works now.
Yeah, so
okay, hopefully you should be able to see that now.
So I just thought the best way to do this and for ease is these are all live examples. So they're college, university, kind of our organizational customers websites. But what I thought might be useful is to just slap them all on some slides and talk through them and just show some really good examples of the stuff that we've talked about. So Bradford College use our career coach tool. So career coach is designed to do exactly what I've talked about, I suppose. Map the structural data, so the sick and sock codes, to course provision. So thinking about that Gatsby benchmark and kind of linking curriculum to careers, the career coach tool is designed to do that. So specifically on this case study, Bradford College are using it really, really well to engage with local feeder schools and fulfill that Baker Clause requirement really well. So as well as having access to their own career coach tool on their website, which attracts potential and prospective students and kind of also supports progression for existing students, they also have 42, I think, reskinned versions of the career coach site, all for their 42 feeder schools within the catchment area. So the school's outreach team can then offer this free as charge to those local schools as an LMI resource. So not only does that give learners at the school age a kind of real insight into local job opportunities, they're able to take that into a school, use it on an open evening, just have the schools use it on their own accord. But it's also mapping back to the college's curriculum offer. So it's kind of providing a really nice kind of pipeline of talent that's full of learners who are engaged and understand immediately why they want to do X, Y, and Z career within the local area that they're in. So yeah, 42 kind of reskinned versions, really, really nicely used, presented, kind of popped on VLEs, Moodles, and internal and external sites. Yeah, next slide, please, Chris. So Western College, I thought this would be a really nice case study just to talk about, kind of twofold really. So thinking about that previous point around kind of helping students navigate careers pathways, but also then thinking about student recruitment, Western College do this really, really well as a kind of a twofold approach. So the challenge, I suppose, with Western to start with was that they noticed that a lot of young people, their enrollments were often applying for kind of multiple different courses. The retention rates weren't great. The dropout rates were high. So this really reinforced concerns that learners were not getting the advice and guidance that they could or potentially needed. And there was a need for a kind of overhaul of this process to make sure that they had the data to make more informed choices. So they remodeled that whole applicant journey into a 4-stage approach. So research, enrollment, orientation, and induction. So really, really kind of thorough overhaul of their recruitment, enrollment, induction, and progression process at the college. So labour market data was introduced into the research stage. So this was integrated into website and course pages. The orientation stage as a careers exploration platform. So kind of career coach plus other additional bits to help students better understand first the intent of the program, so why they were even considering a qualification or a course or a kind of a path of study, and then also that kind of exploration phase of understanding what skills they possessed at the start of that to then help them identify a career path. So this was made mandatory in the induction process for all students who are enrolling, fully digital, built into Moodle, kind of a really, really nice case study.
It's a really interesting approach, because I think we see a lot of this kind of in the university sector about sometimes people kind of maybe coming onto courses without having done that kind of prior sort of thinking, reflection, exploration around actually what you wanted to get out of this. Why have you signed up for this? And so you can really see how that kind of links in at that level. It's really interesting.
And I think next slide, I just pulled out a couple of the results. So kind of really, really impactful. So over 1,000 careers assessments were completed, 76% by local students. So again, really kind of speaking to local needs and serving the community really, really well. The dropout rate was increased, the retention rate was increased, like fantastic results. The college got a 2022 Beacon Award for innovation in careers. Almost 94% who accessed that careers provision rated the service or excellent or good. So kind of again, thinking about those Gatsby benchmarks, we're ticking those off kind of really, really strongly. Also, just really enriching their kind of their events. So they ran this What Next event. They had 500 young people in attendance, over 50,000 engagements on social media, and labour market data was used to build out different programs and kind of 14 different sector programs, create videos, and that all kind of contributed towards that nearly 99% of learners saying, we've got enough information to make their application. We understand why we're on the course that we're doing, and we're excited about the future, really.
Yeah. Really interesting. Now, Karla, we talked about this before the show. We always run out of time.
Sorry.
We have time for these final two case studies, but I just want to kind of pause really briefly and allow Sabiha to come in, because we've had some comments in the chat, and we're really interested to make sure that you've got some space to answer.
I told you to keep me on track, and well done.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So back to you quickly.
No, so I just wanted to sort of kind of say that one Facebook user is saying well done, Weston, because I think that example, particularly for those professionals, career professionals that are working within the educational space, or maybe you're a private practitioner working in this space where you're working with educators and your client group happens to be. We haven't even got time. I've got so many questions for other people that work in other sort of kind of spaces within the profession, but probably that's going to be another show in itself.
Yeah, and just to kind of, sorry to interrupt, but just to say they're FE focused examples there. We have local authorities, careers hubs, like a whole range of clients across lots of different sectors using these tools and this data.
Exactly. So I know, but I mean, today's focus has really been around the sort of kind of educational setting. And then we've had another Facebook user who said, it's great to hear reference to occupations and SOCs. Looks like there seems to be a shift away from defining meaning of career, occupation and job these days, in my understanding. What is your take on that, Karla? So I think we'll probably have that as the sort of kind of last question as we sort of wrap up today's show. So yeah, what do you have to say to that audience member today?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting point, and I think we've really seen a kind of shift away from SIC and SOC and courses, not kind of qualifications, I suppose, and skills. I think from a labour market data company point of view, skills really just allow us to kind of tap into the learner. So if we're thinking about, at the end of the day, what we're thinking about in a careers advice and guidance kind of setting is, what skills does the individual, whether that be a school leaver, a young person, an adult learner, what skills does that person have that fit what local employers are asking for? So SIC and SOC is still really important. That's how we determine job growth, kind of future trends, education level, of existing workforce, salary information. That's the basis, and always should be kind of the bread and butter of labour market data. But when we're in an individual learner setting, we need to unpick what skills they have and what skills that they are interested in, and how they're transferable to the careers that they're after, and also how that fits into what local employers are asking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as the kind of, sorry, Facebook user, we can't see your name there, but I think as the comment you've made, we're talking obviously specifically about labour market data side, but of course, so there's some very fair comments in there, I guess, more kind of generally around subjective meanings as well as the objective meanings that come in data sets, but subjective meanings of kind of career, occupation, job, how that's socialized, how it's understood by young people and other clients. So it's really interesting.
Is also we do look at kind of future careers and AI and emerging trends and emerging sectors. We do have to there's always going to be delay in that type of methodology. So we do need to pick out the new skills that employers are asking for to be able to then kind of feed that into SOC codes, I suppose.
And I love that, Karla. And you know what? I've probably got more questions, and probably the audience has too now as well, to sort of kind of go, okay, but Karla, we want to know about this and we want to know about this. So I guess two things as we wrap up for the show today is, I guess in 60 seconds, what are your tips? If someone who is maybe hearing about all this sort of kind of sort of what you offer as a brand and is interested in sort of kind of accessing, sort of what are your tips for people getting started? Or maybe there's people watching here today that have already familiar slightly with perhaps the tools that are on offer, but want to sort of kind of delve more deeper and get more out of it, similarly to the case study that you've shared about Western. And then really, where can people find you? Because I know people will want to continue this conversation and connect with you. So
yeah, I think first of all, it's about understanding what's already out there and what as an organization you've got access to. So as I mentioned, we work with kind of hundreds of organizations all across the country. There are a lot of resources out there. So kind of understand what's already out there, whether it's a resource that you can tap into. I think aligning your provision is really important if you're an education provider, first of all, to kind of, if you're advertising or giving advice for careers and maybe career pathways that are not growing in your region, then you're doing learners a disservice by not kind of educating them properly about the opportunities out there. But and then if there is a need for a resource, drop me a line. There is so many webinars, blog pieces. I've bombarded Chris with case studies. We had another couple of slides, but just drop me a line and we can have a look at stuff.
We knew that might happen. So, thank you, Karla. So much great information. As you say, I think it's that balance, isn't it, for a lot of careers professionals watching this. They know fully that a lot of work they do is around the individual, but they also know that the work that we do is part of this kind of wider whole of the labour market, of the economy and what's happening. And obviously it can kind of be that constant tension between sort of individual needs, but also kind of understanding availability of opportunities. And as you say, it's, about kind of doing our clients a service by making sure they have that full awareness of actually what's out there for them, so that then as professionals we can kind of help them decide how that maybe fits with their values and interests and strengths and skills. So it's really useful to sort of hear that reflected. And as we've said, if you're interested in finding out more, connect with Karla. And we've shared her contact details during the broadcast. We've also shared the Lightcast website and some of those case studies at the end. So please do check that out. So as always, we are shortly running out of time, so we're going to move straight on over to the CDI news section. So Sabiha, over to you, and tell us what have we got to look forward to.
Thank you. So today I've got two sort of key sort of events that are coming up. Yes, you'd think that December coming up, the CDI would be wrapping down, getting ready for Christmas, but oh no, you would be mistaken, because they have got two fantastic bumper events coming up in the next sort of 10 days. And the first event that I want to promote is on Monday, the 4th of December at the studio in Birmingham. Now, this is definitely really enticing for those of you that want to continue with your CPD points in 2023 and moving on further into and getting yourself ready and set for 2024. head on over to the website and book your place, because there are still places available for the keynote speakers and panelists who are going to be joining this amazing CDI event that is going to be taking place, the summit and the CDI summit. And there's going to be a whole host of expert speakers sharing insights on the changing world of work and exploring how careers professionals can evolve to address the challenges and opportunities presented by these changes. And kind of, there's probably going to be elements of LMI. You know, we've had Karla on today as well, talking about how we sort of kind of connect the academic side of learning a set of sort of kind of knowledge and how that translates into the world of work as well. So if you haven't already, and you're somebody that's looking for an opportunity to meet face-to-face with your fellow colleagues and other people from the profession, head on over to the website and get yourself booked on. And then finally, my second sort of news story, and the last one for today, is there's just one more week to go until the CDI conference for career professionals is taking place on Wednesday, the 6th of December. Now, this is a great event for everybody, regardless of where you are in the world or in the UK, because it's online, but involves location freedom. Now, already the program for the event has gone live on the website, so head on over there, and there are still places that you can book to join the conference. Now, I just was looking the other day at the lineup of speakers that they have got, and, you know, keynote speakers and panel discussions and the workshop, and it is just phenomenal. I mean, the who's who from the sector is going to be there, and it is definitely, I mean, if there's one event that I'm going to sort of promote and say you have to be there to end 2023 on a bang, this is it. And not only that, but you'll be happy to hear that Chris and I are also going to be doing workshops. Now, Chris, you're doing a session which is called Supporting Graduates, and it's one of the morning sessions. So what can people expect of you, and what, when they attend this workshop that you're going to be delivering?
Yes, I'll try and keep it brief. So my session is going to be called Providing the Graduate Boost, and it's all about a kind of sort of bespoke coaching program for graduates 1 year on from finishing their studies that we ran earlier this year at the University of Huddersfield. So very much kind of reflections on some of the challenges graduates are experiencing, and sort of how the coaching approach sort of helped with kind of addressing some of those challenges. So that is what you can expect, and hopefully we'll see some people there bright and early next Wednesday.
Exactly. So if that's not already enticing you, then guess what? I'm also doing a session as well. And I'm going to be doing a lunchtime session, and I'm going to be exploring with members how to help your clients get unstuck and thrive during a one-to-one coaching sessions. Because sometimes, perhaps maybe you're a coaching professional and you get a client that comes in who you can see is either not happy to be there because they've been told that they need to be there, or perhaps, and this is across the range, so there's no age restrictions on this, or perhaps maybe there's other things going on in that client's lives that's impacting their ability to sort of kind of have a thoughtful sort of kind of approach to their career planning. And so you as a career coach might have amazing tools, Karla, you might be using Karla's tool that she talked about around LMI, but yet you haven't got the client engaged because they are feeling stuck or frustrated. Well, I have got an amazing tool, 60-second tool that I teach my coaches that helps and teaches how they can get their clients unstuck and thriving within that very first, or, so if it's a coaching session that you've done on multiple occasions, how you can get your clients moving. So again, one not to be missed. As I say, more information about all the amazing speakers. They are just amazing. My mentor is going to be there. There's some of my favorite speakers. I know Chris has got some great favorites that are coming at the conference as well. So do head on over to the website and check it out. And then Chris, what have you picked for us today for the general news stories?
Yeah, thanks, Sabiha. So just 3 very quick news stories to finish today's sort of episode with. So first of all, news that the FE Collective report is kind of now out in the wild. So if you've not seen this, it's an initiative that's been put together by FE News, and they had kind of an in-person conference in Birmingham that was looking at 3 distinct areas. So one around, surprise, surprise, generative artificial intelligence, one about investing in the sector of the future, and one about kind of progression, again, with a bit more of a further education focus, but really interesting for anyone who's kind of interested, not just people working in the FE space. Our second news story is around an evaluation of the Teacher Encounters program. So for those who've not come across this, this was, I think, sort of about 300 teachers have previously kind of gone on this program, which involved basically encounters with the world of work, being placed in companies, and then sort of taking that learning about industry back to the classroom. Some really interesting findings, really interesting stats that have come out of it in terms of enhanced teacher confidence, confidence around having career-related conversations with young people, improvement to the curriculum, these sort of things. So really well worth kind of checking it out. And again, the plan is for more of those places to be funded next year. So do keep an eye on that. And then finally, a very special What's Your Strength card from Catherine Jennings. So many of you may be familiar with Catherine. She runs What's Your Strength. She actually produced for the recent Careers and Careers Award Festival a kind of a giant What's Your Strength cards purely for careers professionals, servicing all the amazing skills that we have as career development professionals. So do check that out. There's a full video on it. Catherine explains about kind of what she's doing with the card in terms of selling it, and a percentage of the proceeds going to the mental health charity Mind. So if you're interested in that resource, do check it out. So that really kind of takes us very nicely to the end of the show. All that's really left to say is join us next time for our final episode of 2023. Can you believe it? On Wednesday, the 13th of December. And it leads on very nicely from what we've been speaking about with Karla. And we're going to be joined by Thomas Athy, Senior Economic Analyst with the North East Local Enterprise Partnership. And we're going to be talking all about their work on emerging markets in industry through the North East Evidence Hub. So join us for that one. Hopefully see you then. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great fortnight. See you soon.